Interactive wall displays are one of my favorite new things. Adding a QR code to a poster gives students the opportunity to take things further. If you've been hanging out with me this year, you know I've created interactive displays for you to celebrate Black History Month, Women's History Month, and most recently, Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Now it's Pride Month, and I've got another one for you. Maybe you're already out of school, or maybe you've still got a few weeks left. Here's looking at you, New York teachers. Whether you use this display now or put it up to celebrate LGBTQ plus creators throughout the year, this new interactive Pride display features 10 creative authors to share with your students. Today on the pod, I'm going to introduce you to a few of these creators and their books that I've read, so you know a little bit more about what's behind the display. If you already get my emails each week, you'll be getting this display on Friday. If not, you can jump into the show notes today to sign up. Have you been wondering how to integrate a graphic novel into your curriculum? Maybe you want to try one as a whole class text, or maybe launch some book clubs? Oh, good. I'm now opening the doors to my free summer workshop, Camp Creative. Over the course of 1 week, I'll give you everything you need to banish your anxiety over getting started or going deeper with graphic novels. Get ready to see your students thrive with this accessible genre. Each day, you'll build your creative confidence and your graphic novel unit. Just as in Camp Creative's past, each day's training, packed with resources and tips, will arrive in your inbox, ready for you to explore when you have time. Get ready to scratch. Figure out that whole graphic novel thing off your long-term to-do list, because you're about to get everything you need for success and a fun community to dive in by your side. You'll find the link to sign up in the show notes today. I can't wait to work with you inside this free summer session. Okay, so in the last couple weeks, I've been sharing a lot about different contemporary authors and texts that you might want to weave into your classroom, into your full class curriculum, your book clubs, your short story units, your poetry units, your first chapter Fridays, your choice reading. And this is going to be another show a little bit on that theme. First of all, it gives you the background behind this display, which you can get and put up in your classroom. But also, hopefully, it helps you become familiar with some new contemporary writers that you may want to integrate in some way into your classroom. So let me just walk you through a short show today, a few of my favorite authors inside of this display. So I'm going to start with Erica Sanchez. Erica Sanchez is a Mexican-American novelist and poet. She's the daughter of Mexican immigrants. I first learned about Erica Sanchez when I read I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter as the whole class read at a school where I was working in Pennsylvania. Did I say whole class read? I meant whole school read. It was so cool. Our school did a summer reading experience where everybody, all the faculty, all the students, 9th through 12th, read the same book, I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter. And I was so struck by the power of this book. It does have a few mature moments, but my school decided that 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders were all up to the challenge. And it just deals with a lot of complex topics with so much grace. The writing is beautiful. The narrator goes through some different sorts of challenges, mental health struggles, family, identity themes. It's a wonderful book. One of my favorite reads from the last decade or so for young adults. Erica Sanchez also has a new book, Crying in the Bathroom, an autobiographical memoir, where she talks about her own mental health journey. And I haven't read that one yet, but I have a feeling it's really good. Okay, next up, I want to talk about Alice Oseman. She is so hot right now, right? I mean, if you go into a bookstore, you're going to see Alice Oseman's books everywhere. She has this super popular series called Heartstopper. It started as a web comic. It was crowdfunded into a book. And now it's like this just wildly popular series of graphic novels. It's about these two boys who fall in love. And I've read the first one, Heartstopper #1, and I just found it so sweet and nice, the story of these two boys. And a little bit more about Alice. She published her first novel when she was just 19. And now that her comic has become, this popular graphic novel series, she's also doing all these spin-off novels. And so if you can get your students excited about Alice Oseman, it's kind of like getting a fourth grader excited about Rick Riordan. There's just like an acre of books behind the first one that you can keep them going on. And that's always such a lovely thing in a choice reading program. Okay, next, a little bit about Becky Albertelli. I have read several of her books, but just in creating this display, I explored her website for the first time, and her bio is so funny. I loved reading all these hilarious facts she had about herself, and I hope that students will too if they go through the QR code. She's got things in there like the fact that she plays kickball and also has her doctorate in clinical psychology. It's just like such a mashup of interesting facts about her life. And for me, I found it very interesting about Becky and about the next author I'm going to talk about, Darcy, how they have very advanced education in other fields besides English, and they bring that expertise into their writing in unique ways. And I think students will be intrigued by that. She is the writer behind Simon and the Homo Sapiens Agenda, which has been such a popular book, also made into a movie, Love, Simon, and then also the book Leah on the Offbeat. I like them both. I found them super engaging, fun YA novels, and I think, they're quite popular across age levels. Next up, Darcy Little Badger. So she is such an interesting author to me because she blends genres in this totally unexpected way for me. I read her book, A Snake Falls to Earth, last summer, and I thought it was so interesting how she was blending fantasy and science and sort of this futurism that was also drawing on like the traditional stories of the Lipan Apache. And so for me, it's just like this fascinating mashup. And when I learned more about her biography, then it really made sense to me. She went to Stanford and she wanted to go through their creative writing program, and she didn't get in, even though she's obviously this talented author now, published, famous, but she didn't get in. And so she ended up getting her PhD in oceanography. So she's an environmental scientist who's also an author. And that really comes through in her book, A Snake Falls to Earth. She's also quite well known for her book, Elatso, which I haven't read yet, but am excited to read someday. All right, let's see. Who else do I want to tell you about? Oh, I want to tell you about Rainbow Rowell. Have you read any Rainbow Rowell books? She has so many. She lives and writes in Nebraska, and she really crosses genres. She's got this graphic novel that she created in collaboration with a wonderful artist called Pumpkinheads. And I just read it for the first time last week after having recommended to me by several teachers. And I found it lots of fun, just a lighthearted, fun fall book. It would be so great to have on your display in October because it's about two teenagers who work at a pumpkin patch and kind of how one has liked the other for a long time while the other has had this sort of mythical crush on a girl that he doesn't even know. He doesn't know what she's like. And it's like this funny story of their night gallivanting through the pumpkin patch in search of this boy's crush. And then, spoiler alert, he kind of realizes where maybe love actually lies for him. So that's a really fun one. The first book I read by Rainbow Rowell was actually Eleanor and Park, which has a lot more depth to it and is a wonderful YA. And I also really liked her book Fangirl. That one I read a long time ago, but I think it was just like very clearly based on sort of the idea of the fandom of Harry Potter. And I thought that was fun to read about this character who loved a book series and sort of how that affected her life and what happened from there. So anyway, I have enjoyed a lot of Rainbow Rowell's books. I haven't read all of her most recent, but I just heard from another teacher that her new short story collection is really good. So I'm excited to check that out too. Okay, last but not least, I want to mention, although I could go through and talk about them all, but last but not least, let's mention Adam Silvera. I read Adam Silvera's book, They Both Die at the End, last year. And wow, it's so different from anything I've ever read. It's dystopia for sure, but it's also definitely YA, definitely like fun, fast-paced, intriguing, but also so sad, right? I mean, you hear it in the title, they both die at the end, and you're thinking, oh, but they're not really going to die at the end. You don't give a spoiler like that in the title, but you'll find out. You'll find out. It's so unexpected. And there's a new prequel out, the first to die at the end, that I haven't read yet. But again, I always love it when you can feature a book in your choice reading library that has a paper trail to follow, right? You love the first one, okay, read the second one. That is just a huge win for choice readers everywhere. They Both Die at the End does have very light, mature moments, but you know, you'll see if it's right for your particular group, depending on the age group that you are teaching. Okay, so those are the ones I'm going to highlight. I could talk about them all. The authors that are featured in the display are Erica Sanchez, Alice Oseman, Becky Albertelli, Darcy Little Badger, Adib Khorram, Mary Jean Chan, Audre Lorde, Rainbow Rowell, Fatima Asghar, and Adam Silvera. Those are the 10. So we dove into a bunch of them, not all, but again, you can grab this display through the link in the show notes today, or you can just wait for it to come out to your email on Friday if you're already on my email list. All right, thanks so much for joining me today. If you haven't signed up yet for Camp Creative, it is starting next week, and I have finished all the materials, and they are really great. If I do say so, I'm really excited to share them with you. So I hope you're signed up. If you're not signed up yet, I'll put the link in the show notes today, and you can sign up. Until next time, take care of yourself and stay creative.